Hey, okay, here from Emerald Minecarts. Welcome back to another review, and today I'm reviewing VHS Beyond, which, for now, will be the final VHS movie I'll be watching. I've mentioned this before, but the reason why is because I don't have the ability to watch the first three VHS movies. And I have two reasons. Reason one is because I don't own the physical copies of them yet, and reason two being, well, they're not available on Shudder, which is a bit weird. Like, all the other ones, especially the most recent ones, are available on Shudder, so why aren't the first three available on Shudder? I don't know, maybe I'll email Shudder about that. I don't know. But, yeah, so VHS Beyond is, honestly, a pretty good movie. I quite like it. It's another one that has, where most of the segments I all like, and I say most because there is one that I wouldn't say I hated, but it was more, there were like parts of it where I was like, I don't know. But again, I'll get to that when I get to it. But yeah, anyways, the pros, the cons, and the mains. First off, there is the VHS aesthetic. Now, something I need to note is the VHS aesthetic isn't present through the entire film. It's present through most of the film, but there are some segments where, like, the VHS aesthetic is just not there. And that's for the wraparound segment and the Live and Let Die segment. Those don't really have the VHS aesthetic to it. But to be fair, the wraparound aesthetic is supposed to be like a documentary that takes place in the modern day, especially considering who happens to be in the wraparound segment. But I'll get to that when I get to that part. Next up is the music. Once again, music's pretty great, especially the music for especially for the outro slash credit scene. Like it's a mix of like 2000s rock and metal. That's the best way I can describe it. And also, there's one song from one of the segments that actually does play a role in said segment, considering where it takes place. But again, like I've already said, I'll get to it when I get to it. Next up are the effects. Once again, the effects are freaking amazing, and some of them did make me flinch a bit. Well, one of them in particular, but again, okay, look, whatever. Okay, take a shot whenever I say I'll get to it when I get to it. Actually, don't do that. I don't know the age of my audience, so I don't want to be the cause behind any underage drinking, so yeah. Anyways, the segments. The first one is abduction slash adduction, which is the wraparound segment. It's framed as a documentary that goes over the disappearance of a Chinese man, and it has like the people that the document is interviewing are like people who believe in aliens and then people who are skeptics. But surprisingly, Corridor Digital is a part of this. Yeah, that's right. Three of the guys from Corridor Digital are in this wraparound segment. And like, if you happen to watch Corridor Digital's content, which I do here and there, but like I don't always watch their stuff, they have a series where like they break down videos that claim they have real footage of aliens and like they break down everything. It's really interesting, but yeah. Honestly, when I first saw them in this, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're in this. But yeah, so their inclusion in the documentary can definitely show you that, yeah, this doesn't really take place in the 90s, since, YouTube didn't really exist in the 90s. So, yeah, but yeah, the effects for this film were pretty freaking good, especially the ending where like this guy essentially has alien eggs implanted into him by an alien putting their finger down his throat, and seems really disgusting. And oh man, the things I didn't think I would ever say. But yeah, honestly, this wraparound segment was pretty good. Next up, there is the Stork segment. Now, a little fun fact about this segment. This segment was directed by the same man who brought us Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving 3. Which, yes, they are the movies that have the killer turkey that James of Dead Meat despises with his life. So, yeah, honestly, it's quite impressive, especially the monster design for, yeah, especially the monster design, which is this alien stork. It looks cool, and actually, it was designed by an artist who is the same artist who is working on the survival horror game Ill, which is currently being developed by the same studio that gave us Atomic Heart. Which, I'm definitely very excited for. But yeah, also, through, like, information from Dead Meat, apparently this one was mostly themed after video games as well, like, stuff like Resident Evil, which is pretty funny because, like, the group of people who are, like, go out to hunt down this stork alien has, like, has a team name that's like somewhat similar to Stars, where it's like a name, but it's like the acronym or something. Look, I know if what I'm explaining is confusing, I'm sorry. I'm not the greatest at explaining things sometimes. But yeah, the Stork segment, honestly, pretty good. I quite liked it. Next up is the Dream Girl segment. This is, once again, our required segment of it being directed by someone who isn't American. So yeah, this one takes place in India and relates to Bollywood. And the main monster is seemingly this regular singer who is later revealed to be a robot once this paparazzi guy, who's our main character, like, just talks to her and it's like, hey, don't let your boss you around. And this leads to her going insane and taking off her face and then brutalizing everyone. But yeah, the special effects for this segment were also really good, and also the music. Oh my god. Okay, look, I don't listen to India, like, from music that was made in India, because it's not something I would regularly listen to. But honestly, the song in this segment, which is called Goddess, it is amazing. I actually generally might, like, pop it on for a listen here and there. But yeah, honestly, yeah, the song Goddess for this segment, really freaking good. And actually, maybe one day I might check out a Bollywood film. They seem interesting. But yeah, next up is Live and Let Die. This segment is a segment that doesn't really have the VHS aesthetic to it, but it is still pretty cool. Like, from the start, it's like, oh, it's this group of people celebrating one of their friends' birthdays. It's really wholesome, but then you remember, oh wait, this is a VHS film. None of these people are going to make it. So yeah, so basically, Aliens. This is actually the first one. Yeah, this is one of the three segments that actually has aliens in it. Actually, wait, Abandoned, Stork, Live and Let Die. Okay, no, not three. Four out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 4 out of the 6 segments contain aliens, and it seems all of them would, considering, this one is seemingly space themed, but I'll say it's kind of more of a science fiction thing. But side tangent aside, yeah, honestly, Live and Let Die is a pretty good segment. The practical effects are amazing, especially for the gore, because, like, there's one scene where, like, our main character ends up getting, like, two of his fingers blown off, and it's like they're just hanging on his hand by some skin. It's really gross, but the practical effects are amazing, and, like, the alien design is pretty freaking cool as well, and, like, they have these Baraka-like blades that can shoot out electricity, which is pretty freaking cool. But yeah, honestly, I quite like this segment, and also this segment is a reminder to me that I am never going to be doing skydiving in the first place. Look, I'd also feel like this probably wouldn't happen in real life, but still, there's a possibility of your parachute not working, and, your parachute not working. But yeah. And finally, there is the segment Stowaway, which definitely has the more depressing ending, but thankfully not as depressing as the Kid Prince segment from VHS Halloween. So this segment was actually made by Mike Flanagan, who, okay, look, I don't really want, Look, I don't have a huge interest in Mike Flanagan's movies, but I am aware that he is a very good filmmaker and that he is well loved by the horror community and people who in general. So yeah, honestly, Stowaway was a really good segment, especially since it has like a gross interpretation of the alien ship being alive. Now, obviously, this isn't the only film that depicts the alien ship being a living being. Obviously, there is the film Nope. That is a good example of that. But yeah, it's just the practical effects are pretty freaking amazing. And the ending is genuinely sad because, okay, the main character happens to be a mom, and the footage she's recording just so happens to record over footage of her daughter's birthday. And this footage like randomly cuts into this segment in the ending where it's like the mom who's like heavily mutated by like animal DNA that was stored on the ship. She's like reaching out for like the toy that her daughter holds in the clips that the clips of her birthday party. It's just oh my gosh, it's really sad. It really is. It just hurts me. Look, I'm not a parent, despite the fact that I'm 20 years old, but it's just I don't know. It just really makes me depressed. It's just oh my god. It's really sad. That's a really sad ending. But yeah, honestly, this was another good segment. But now the cons. Um, yeah, I don't have cons. This film's pretty good. And then finally the mids. This one being the segment Fur Babies. Now, I want to clarify that I did not hate this segment. There was just a part of the segment that I just didn't really vibe with, but not to the point where I put it in cons. Okay, so Justin, or yeah, not Justin Timberlake. Justin, I'll put him on screen. Yeah, he's the guy who starred in the movie Tusk, where like oh yeah, Justin Long. Yeah, he stars in the movie Tusk, where like Justin Long's character gets turned into this like weird and creepy this. I'm sorry, I had a brain fart. I didn't remember the animal name, but yeah. Watching this segment, you could definitely tell that he worked on this because, like, the main monsters of this segment are like these human-dog hybrids made by like this mad scientist woman who like has like this doggy daycare at her home. And our main characters are like these animal activist people who would definitely work for PETA. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, just like it just I don't know. The data gave me the problems with like, oh, once the dogs died, she would cut up the body parts and attach them to people. I don't know. It's just it just doesn't sit right with me. You know, just as someone who like loves dogs, it just doesn't sit with me. You know, it just makes me uncomfortable. But again, it wasn't too bad. I didn't hate it. It just, it just had some things that I just didn't really vibe with, you know? Yeah. So that was VHS Beyond, and I give VHS Beyond 6 out of 7 stars. Yeah. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier, for now, this is going to be the last VHS movie I'll be watching until I either get physical copies of the first 3 movies, or until the first 3 movies arrive on Shudder. So, yeah. But yeah, so, anyways, that was it for this video. Make sure you all subscribe and like for more, and I'll see you all later. Peace out, home guards, and goodbye!